Hello everyone, Daniel here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review, spoiler-free, for Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. This is a film from 2023, rated PG-13 with a runtime of 2 hours and 43 minutes. It is a big whopper, but it goes by pretty quickly, actually. As of the recording of this video, the Rotten Tomatoes score stands at 97% for the critics, 95% for the audience. Quite a banger, according to really everyone. Let me give you a quick synopsis. We'll go over some of the people behind the camera and in front of the camera, and then talk more about this film. So, in Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, Ethan Hunt and his IMF team embark in their most dangerous mission yet to track down a terrifying weapon that threatens all of humanity before it falls in the wrong hands. With the control of the future and the fate of the world at stake, and dark forces from Ethan's past closing in, a deadly race around the globe begins. Confronted by a mysterious, all powerful enemy, Ethan is forced to consider that nothing can matter more than his mission, not even the lives of those he cares about the most. This movie is directed by Christopher McQuarrie, and it stars, of course, Tom Cruise as Ethan Hunt, Haley Atwell as Grace, Ving Rhames as Luther Stickle, Simon Pegg as Benji Dunn, Rebecca Ferguson and Isla Faust, Vanessa Kirby as the White Widow, Esai Morales as Gabriel, and Palm Clementif as Paris. Um, Boy, I had a blast at this movie. This is one of the biggest blockbusters I've seen this year, really. I was talking during my initial reaction that one of the things I appreciate the most about this film is that it does the part one of being a part one of two very well. You get a complete story. You get a really good stopping point. I think a big complaint for a lot of people for Fast X was that um, that the movie kind of suddenly came to an end in a cliffhanger, whereas this film you get a full story, and you don't have any of those issues. I think the pacing is very well done. I barely even felt the 2 hours and 243 minutes that I was in there. It's very quickly paced. Like, we just keep moving from sequence to sequence. There's maybe a couple of scenes that take a little too long, but I think overall the movie just moves at a very fun, entertaining pace that doesn't really let up. Um, like a lot of the Mission Impossible, specifically after Rogue Ghost Protocol, when it's kind of like when they really up the ante. We go all over the globe, and there are some beautiful, beautiful locations. This is another place where the kind of comparisons to Fast X come into play, because they have a very similar sequence, not so much in the events, but just the feel of it in Rome. And if you've seen Fast X, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And it just goes to show you how you can do a lot more with a lot less when it comes to that. So that was really, really interesting. Just to see those parallels. I think those movies are going to be compared a lot this year, because they're both really big blockbusters. But I think everything that Fast X did, which was a movie that I enjoyed, this movie did a lot better. Christopher McQuarrie just has a formula down to the T. Tom Cruise, of course, leading these franchise, like, just his representation of Ethan Hunt is at this point a classic character in film. I love the introduction of Haley Atwell. She is fantastic. I almost kind of want her to be maybe getting set up to do like a spin-off, or just even get her own action franchise. I would bet that in the next few years Haley Atwell gets some kind of John Wick type of film, Atomic Blonde style, something like that, type of movie. Really fun to see Ving Rhames and Simon Pegg coming back as, part of the crew. And of course, I think one of the other people that really shines in this film is Rebecca Ferguson. She's just great. She was a great addition to the franchise when she first jumped on. I believe that was during Rogue Nation. So yeah, seeing her here, just, whether it's an action sequence or just a sequence with Tom Cruise, like, they have great chemistry on the screen. Yeah, it was fantastic to see. Vanessa Kirby is also a great addition to the franchise. So I'm glad to see her back from Fallout. I believe that's where she was in Fallout. I didn't rewatch a lot of these films before going into this one, but I will let you know at the end of the video or towards the end what movies I feel you should rewatch if you really want to be ready uh, for um, Dead Reckoning. We also have Esai Morales playing Gabriel. I don't want to go too much into the details, but his performance was great. I feel like he has a very imposing presence on camera, and the character he just brings a lot of gravitas to his performance. So it's one of the more grounded characters, and one of the ones you really believe just can really get a lot of things done. And of course, Palm Clementif, who is having a great few years. Especially this year, like just fantastic performance. She's such a cool character. I really, really enjoyed it. Every time she was on screen, I knew we were in for a great time, a great sequence, a great action fight. Like just she is fantastic. She looks great. I think she had some of the better costuming in the film as well, which in a film like this of this caliber, like it really says a lot. um, there are a lot of really cool sequences. There's also a lot of fun and levity at some points in this film, which is something I don't remember feeling as much from previous iterations of this movie. And not only with the characters, just a really interesting sequences, really funny gags that kind of come in and out that really just allow you to take a break from all the action, from all the tension, right before ramping you back up. Of course, the stunts are out of this world. They are incredible. There's some stuff that I can't believe they can do, and that they're shooting mostly practical. It is incredible to see on the screen. That's why I recommend, as I said in my initial reaction, watch this on the biggest screen possible with the best sound. Get yourself a Dolby, go to like a really nice IMAX theater. Unless you're afraid of heights, maybe you don't want to do that. And yeah, I can't wait to see some of the behind the scenes for this stuff, because as we know, Tom Cruise does a lot of these stunts, and it is incredible to see. But yeah, this is just, I don't know. I'm still letting it sink in. I'm recording this on the same night that I watched the film, and I would watch it again in a heartbeat at the theater. I'm glad that I believe Paramount, which I believe this is a Paramount film, they put out their movies very quickly on streaming or on their service within 45 days. So I definitely can't wait to rewatch this. And I'm very excited for the rewatch I'll do of all the franchise for part two. I don't want to do a rewatch for this one because I learned my lesson from Infinity War, where I kind of shot it in too early, and uh, you know, then you have to rewatch everything again for Endgame. So like that from there I learned that just save the rewatches for really the last film. That really pays off. Now, if you do want to go in and get a little bit more, here are the three films, with one honorable mention, I will say, that you should probably watch to get familiar with the franchise, or if this is going to be your first time watching a Mission Impossible film. These are the three films I believe will give you a lot of context for this. So, of course, the first film, you're introduced to the IMF, you're introduced to this world, you're introduced to the character of Ethan Hunt. He doesn't have the full squad as of yet, but definitely you get a lot of the themes and the gags and some of the technology and all the stuff they use, like all that. I think Mission Impossible, definitely a something you should watch before going into this one. From there, I'll say Mission Impossible Rogue Nation, which is where we are introduced to Rebecca Ferguson's character of Isla or Ilsa. I think that's where you can kind of see the chemistry developing between Ethan Hunt and Ilsa Faust. And then, of course, Mission Impossible Fallout with Rebecca Ferguson as well. She comes back in that film. But also is the introduction of Vanessa Kirby as this White Widow character, which I think it's just really good to have some of those relationships in the background. Of course, with those films, you also get a lot of the chemistry between Rames and Simon Pegg and Ethan Hunt, and how they function as a team. Um, and I will say, as an honorable mention, if you will, probably you want to rewatch or watch Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol. It's the fourth film of the franchise, and it's really where the story just makes a change in tone. It's kind of a departure from the first three films that came before it, where into more of what we see currently. So that's my recommendation. But you guys, let me know, what did you think about? Did you rewatch all the films? Which ones do you think are necessary viewing, if you will? But yeah, man, I will probably make a few more videos on this if I get a chance to rewatch it. But I'm very excited that I got to rewatch it a little bit early at one of those early fan screenings. But this movie goes wide. Pretty much, it's gonna make a lot of money this weekend. I feel it. I think word of mouth is good. The reviews and the critics are good. Myself here, I'll leave a great review on here on Letterboxd, so follow me on there. So yeah, this is just an incredible experience. Just a really fun deep dive into what makes these film a lot, like just fun to watch. Like they're action packed, but they're also have these, like, they introduce a really interesting concept here of what they're going up against, that I think is only thematic for the contemporary times, but also feels like something that's still a little bit of fantasy for the films, but also a little bit of realism for the, like, that. It's a good combination. It's a good balance of that. Good, like I said, great performances, fantastic music. I didn't even touch much on the sound, but like, of course, the theme for Mission Impossible is iconic, but the way it's woven into the score is just it's a pleasure to hear every time in one of these films. I think they really have that down to a science, which is outstanding. So yeah, there's not much more I can say without getting into full spoilers. But Haley Atwell, probably VIP of the film, outside of Tom Cruise. I mean, seeing Tom Cruise run is it's a fun meme, but it's also like really entertaining in this film. And yeah, everyone else in the cast really brings it and delivers. So very excited there. So if you've seen this film, let me know what you thought about it down in the comments. As always, thanks for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we go live. That is most Saturdays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Stay tuned. We have more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, all that fun stuff here in the channel. And as always, thanks for watching, everyone. Bye bye.